Chances, of course, the big news, if you missed it earlier, is the contender from New Zealand, Carpstad Wade, came out after tying up and stewards suggesting he wasn't up to running. The full market, 17 minutes of betting time. We're getting close to our international coverage kicking in for this. $18 Caetano, $7.60 Emission, $6.20 Helene Vitality, $10 for Indigenous. The Mounting Yard mail picks here came through earlier as 10, 9, 5 and 13. 10 from 9 was the way the favourites are. Helene Vitality was earlier. The actually correct weight has just gone through on that previous race too in Hong Kong, so correct weight on the first two races, all clear to pay. A check over the page, and the other two key ones, Industrial Pioneer, still huge odds compared to what they have been betting in Hong Kong. It's $3 for Gym and Tonic, which is the favourite there, and from there Carpstad Way, of course, the lone scratching. As we take you back to a few more, including Dahliapour. We saw Ivan Allen prepare the trifecta in the feature sprint, the Chairman's Sprint Prize. Can Dahliapour add another feature scalp for the talented trainer?
Dahliapour spearheads the Hong Kong defence of the race. He won 2 Group 1s last year, which included beating the World Series winner Fantastic Light. That was at Epsom. He's proving to be just as good on hometown soil.
Back in between them, Caetano, but it's Dahliapour and Silvano. Alarathena Indigenous sticking on gamely. Caetano to the inside. Dahliapour the favourite in front. Silvano, Andy Superix riding for his life, but Dahliapour's got all the answers. Here's Group 1 win number 12 for Johnny Murder. What a year. Dahliapour wins the bars easily by 2 lengths. Second Alarathena, third is a photo.
Electronic Unicorn has lots of class, but curiously, he's still awaiting his first group success. He's probably got a little bit more to find on what he's shown so far if he's to prove successful in this QE2 Cup.
Hill, Trillion Wind closing in, Kenwood Melody behind them, wide out Bumper Storm winding up together with Oriental Express and Helene Express to the extreme outside. Charming City is the leader, Kenwood Melody, Electronic Unicorn went whoosh in the centre of the track. Stephen King raced him away from Charming City and Trillion Wind, and here's a big win to Electronic Unicorn. Electronic Unicorn by 3 on the line.
Helene Vitality was the New Zealand Derby winner of 1999. So far, he's yet to really hit the big time here in Hong Kong, but he has finished very strongly on more than one occasion, including when grabbing second behind Idol in the Gold Cup.
Through Industrialist and Lord of Warriors, Helene Vitality flies. He's come from last. He's won. What a big win, Helene Vitality.
You heard the name of Stephen King, our very talented jockey. He's currently in 14th position on their Jockeys Premiership with 15 wins. Craig Williams has registered 9 wins. Shane Dye with 39. Courtesy his earlier success this evening, and he's currently in equal 4th position. You'll see the likes of Corey Brown mentioned there too. Mark de Montfort earlier in the season rode something like 4 or 5 winners as well. It's big stakes. Shane Dye's horses that have won more than 36 million Hong Kong dollars. A lot of money. It's around 7 million Australian dollars, depending on which day you check out the exchange rate. 13 minutes away from the feature race, and it's $7.60 for Emission, out to $11 now. And as I mentioned, it's not so short as far as odds are concerned in Hong Kong. We'll be able to link up with the coverage there very, very soon. From there, we go down to Helene Vitality, $7.30. It remains one of the elects in this race. Shane Dye has the ride for David Hayes, and David is looking to saddle up his 3rd winner on the card. And Helene Vitality by Zabeel out of Anna's Choice. So it's a New Zealand bred galloper, and it comes into this race given a strong chance in Hong Kong as well. Idol still remains at big odds at $36 for those that like its chances. It's a lot shorter in Hong Kong. From there, Indigenous at $16, number 8. $10 Industrial Pioneer, a horse which at one stage was shadowing or even bettering Gym and Tonic late yesterday in morning line betting for this race as favourite, and it's one of the real stars, the only one the Hong Kong locals consider can match Gym and Tonic, Gerard Mossay's ride. From there, Oriental Express at $40. And those bottom two, Sobieski, Frankie Dettori's mount is a gigantic value at $26. Not so much on Super Tab though, where it's $8.60, but in Queensland it's at $27. So we're going back to a few of the key contenders for the big race. One of those is Housemaster. We mentioned Ivan Allen. This is yet another one of his winning hopes.
With all the attention on the defeat of Gym and Tonic last year, Housemaster's splendid effort to finish 3rd has almost been overlooked. He was beaten just 2 short heads.
Express behind him. Inside the 350, Industrialist went to the lead. Keen Winners coming at him. Indigenous sticks on. Housemasters getting through. Jim and Tonic, the red flash, winding up. He's 3 off them. He's storming home. Industrialist goes to the lead. Housemaster the inside. Jim and Tonic rattling. Is he great? Is he what? He dives. I think he got there. It's a bob and go. He may have won. Housemaster and Industrialist in a 3-way go.
Idol is trained by David Orton and pulled off one of the shocks of the season so far when accounting for a host of older and higher profile performers in the Gold Cup.
Pause after him from Dane Factor. Keen Winner, Billion Win staying on. Fairy King Prawn's got the job ahead. He's in between horses, needing the out. Idol still in front. He found he got 2 lengths. Daddy Pause trying hard. Fairy King Prawn, Billion Win running on. Idol's in front. Industrial Pioneer, Fairy King Prawn, Billion Win running on. It's Idol still in front. Michael Kinane, one of the world's best, wins it by a length.
Indigenous, he hardly needs any sort of introduction at all, and he's still capable of a big run. He was 4th ahead of Silvano in the Hong Kong Vase in December, but he also finished 4th in this race last year.
Goes to him, Industrial Pioneer and Lord of Warriors still winding up in the centre of the track. He's 2 lengths off them. Industrial Pioneer went to the front. He's there to win it. He draws away. Egan rides hard. Here's a big day for him. Lord of Warriors closing on. Glenbourne and Indigenous battling hard, but Industrial Pioneer, a big winner of the Centenary Vase by 2 lengths.
He's a very smart horse, and as I mentioned, challenging Jim and Tonic for favouritism earlier today in Hong Kong. So very interesting as we count down to the start of the Queen Elizabeth II Cup. Electronic Unicorn, $44. $10 for Emission, the Melbourne horse, taking on the best from the world. Eric Legree in the saddle for Emission. Wouldn't this be a rise to the top? Forest Glow horse. You'll see quite a bit of Australian breeding in these horses. Dahlia Pause's saddle as well. But you go down to Emission, of course, the Zabeel horse, Helene Vitality. Masterclass horse is Idol. From there, actually, Marju is the sire of Indigenous, and Marju, it's been announced, will be shuttling to Collingrove Stud this spring. And outside of that, this being an international race, you'll see them from all over the Northern Hemisphere. There's page 1 of the latest in betting figures, and shortly we'll be able to take your trackside to link up with the coverage. Jim and Tonic, $2.10, continues to tighten. Still Industrial Pioneer remains very good value, Super Tab, and also Queensland. And just confirming, if you missed the news, Carpstad Way not running. Silvano firms up. Sobieski is one which looks to be very, very good value. Well, we mentioned Industrial Pioneer. We've still got 2 more key contenders to look at for the Queen Elizabeth Cup. Let's catch up with their hopes now.
The colours of Industrial Pioneer were successful last year. Albert Hugh C. Knock is the owner, and the trainer, of course, Brian Kahn. It would be a truly great feat if they could back up in consecutive years in the QE2 Cup.
Industrial Pioneer, now out wider, Helene Vitality's trying to run on. Red Pepper, the bolter. Industrial Pioneer for Brian Kahn coming on. Also Helene Vitality and momentum, but it's Industrial Pioneer. Marseille, what a weekend. Last night's Dubai, today the Hong Kong Derby.
Oriental Express. He's tough and he's very reliable, and he's also a previous winner of the QE2 Cup. His great day came in 1998.
The runs are there if good enough. 350 to go. They're stretched across the track. Kesara, Starbra, but Smashing Pumpkin has got right up the inside. Smashing Pumpkin for Nikolic, and David Hayes sweeps up. Oriental Express continues to run on. The run ends for the Pumpkin. Oriental Express goes to the front. Payne rides hard on Viali and goes to second. Oriental Express in front. Viali surging late, but Oriental Express, Ivan Allen again.
Oh, gee, this is going to be a great race. The Audemars PK QE2 Cup. As we get close to start time for this big race. On screen, Dahlia Pur, number 2. Alf Matthews is on the line from Hong Kong. Alf, you helped us out with a trifecta in order the previous race. The punters are delighted. What about this race?
Probably.
What do you like here?
Look, as you just saw on screen, Dahlia Pur looks absolutely fantastic. I went down and had a look at him in the flesh. Had a little bit of a problem with a near front ligament strain early in the week. Past the vet, obviously, to run today really does look fantastic. Admittedly, I've only put him in for 3rd, though. I've gone for number 13, which is a horse called Silvano. Now, he comes off a respectable performance in Dubai. Plus, his start before that, Brendan, he won the Singapore Gold Cup and looked absolutely awesome. Has travelled over brilliantly, and gee, if you'd ever want to go for a horse on looks and the way he worked the other morning, Silvano's definitely the one from Germany. He's the one I'm going for, number 13 on top. I'm just going to take on Gin and Tonic. I think he's just done a little bit of travelling, and it could just be taking the effects of it, but bearing in mind, in saying that, he certainly does look very, very nice under saddle today. Number 4, Emission, looks as if he's probably going to struggle a little bit now that the conditions are on the softer side, and that's probably to his demise, but does look very well, has travelled well, and Cliff Brown is very happy with him indeed.
Okay, outside of those couple you have mentioned, there's a couple down the bottom, number 14, Sobieski, a horse which Frankie Dettori is riding. Now, the betting on this horse was quite strong, I understand, over there earlier today. Is the mail still as good?
Well, earlier he did come in, and he has got out. He's showing about 23-1 here at the moment, Brendan, but he's a horse I actually spoke to Frankie about, and I said, Frankie, what can you tell me about Sobieski? He said, Alf, I don't know a lot about him, so I immediately sort of tended to steer away from it, because I thought to myself, if Frank doesn't know much about it, it can't be all that good, because we do know the number of good horses he does ride. Helene Vitality that we see on screen at the moment looks very good, as you can see. He's going to be affected by the slow conditions or the softer track today. I think that's unfortunate that it is like that, because he's got the blinkers on for the first time, and I think the 2,000 metres would have suited him well. Housemaster, number 6, they've been talking a little bit about him. He could be the horse that could actually take up the running, so they've been saying. Looks very well, a little bit on edge at the moment, but again, Brendan, I haven't put him in my selections.
Okay, your selections are then, in what order?
I'm going number 13, Silvano. I'm going to take on Gin and Tonic to put him in for second, number 10, and I'm going to put number 2, Dahlia Pour, in for third, and I'm actually going to go for number 14, Sobieski, to run fourth, because if Frankie doesn't know about it, it may just be a little bit of a blot there.
Now, what sort of reception did Fairy King Prawn get? We could hear the roar from here. It must have been special being there.
Well, I was fortunate enough to just run outside and just see him over the concluding stages, when you could sense about 300 metres out, and he started to pick up and start to sprint to him. The crowd just got right up on their feet. Like, he is a special horse and a genuine champion racehorse, and they certainly love him in Hong Kong.
Oh, no doubt about that, Alf. Many thanks for you. Have you got a long shot you can throw in before we say cheerio and enjoy the hospitality?
Well, probably one of the locals, Industrial Pioneer, to be ridden by the brilliant South African jockey Robbie Frad.
Okay, so Robbie Frad, leading rider, leading trainer too, with Brian Kahn putting the polish on. Alf, many thanks for your help and helping us find a winner.
Good as gold, Brendan. Been a pleasure.
Okay, Alf Matthews joining us from Sha Tin as we await to see the 9 and get a comparison with what we're betting here. New South Wales currently $8, $2.30 for number 9. And Robbie Frad is the jockey, the leading jockey, one of the leading jockeys going around in Hong Kong, the second ranked jockey at the moment, and the leading trainer. This number 1, Caetano, the best turned out horse after the parade, as we pick up the coverage trackside with the Hong Kong Jockey Club crew.
3.2 about Industrial Pioneer. Caetano has just been awarded the best turned out horse, the German number 1, Caetano, the best turned out. As we're about to move on with number 9, Industrial Pioneer. What a great ride for Robbie Frad to pick up in this race today. Gerard Mosse had the spoils on him in the Derby and was able to place him third behind Idle in the Gold Cup. He's certainly been a find. He bears the same colours of Industrialist, prepared by Brian Kahn to win this race last year.
Well, I'm afraid the Industrialist far more took my eye last year than this horse does this year, Industrial Pioneer. He's never a star from the paddock, though, as we've seen, or I've certainly seen to my cost already. He's come up and made me look very silly. If he wins this one, he'll be doing the same again here today.
The thing you like about him is he keeps battling on, but the stats for Derby winners in QE2s aren't the great record that you'd like. 4 Derby winners have stepped into the QE2 in the same year. None have won. The best performance by a horse stepping into QE2 that's won a Derby was Johan Cruyff in '98. He ran third. Oriental Express tried to do it. He ran fourth. And Macapura Star was one of our good horses. He ran fifth. They are great horses. Industrial Pioneer trying to become one of those. Sobieski I suppose the rain would have really improved the thoughts of the camp. His French form is on wet ground. He's run in the last 2 legs of the Maktoum Challenge. He ran creditably, but best of the best is a world-class horse. He thrashed him, and his last time out he was 1.5 lengths behind High Tory.
He looks as though he's got a little bit defined, but again, he's certainly showing the benefit of summering in the warmer climates. He looks to be in very good order, very forward in his coat for primarily a Northern Hemisphere trained horse. And I don't think anything has been left to chance. He looks fit and well, but I think he may be found wanting a little bit.
At the moment, $220 on offer about him. Sobieski carrying the 126 pounds in this set weight event. He's drawn gate number 8 with a scratching of Carpstad Way. Well, here he is, Jim Antonic, already a winner of this race, narrowly beaten in it last year. Hong Kong has just been a happy hunting ground for this horse, Jim Antonic. Of course, he placed in it as well back in 1999. And what about that courageous performance to beat Fairy King Prawn in Dubai?
I don't see why things should change here either, because he looks infinitely better than he did on International Week. He really does. He's come right in his coat. He looks to be in tremendous shape. He travels so well every time he sets foot on an aeroplane. He seems to grow a foot. I'm more than happy with him. I'm much happier than I was with him last time he came here.
And he's one of the great international globetrotters, isn't he? In years to come, when we're talking about great horses that race around the world, we will rightfully equal or claim them to be the equal of Jim Antonic. He's got turn of foot. He can turn up anywhere and do it. And we saw him battle back the other day. And the softer ground, not a problem for him. He won on very heavy ground when he was preparing for his International Cup meet here in Paris. Oriental Express, $1,700. He's a grand old horse of Hong Kong as well, a former Horse of the Year. As I said earlier, a Derby winner. He's won a QE2, he's won a Chairman's Prize as well, and a Champions and Chater.
He's been a phenomenal horse, hasn't he? But when you look down at his front legs, you just question his old joints a bit now. They're getting a little bit bigger each time they come out, and I think that's probably his major problem. The blinkers go on him for the first time, and I was very impressed the way they woke him up when going with Fairy King Prawn down the Riverside this week. That seemed to be a much better piece of work from him. I would just say that if it doesn't work today, well, we've probably seen the best of him already.
Yeah, it's interesting they've gone for the shades at 8 years of age. Finally in the paddock, number 13, Silvano, $114. Needless to say, he was definitely short of a run when competing in the Vase. He hadn't had a run for 6 months leading up to that, and he ran with such credit. Well, since then, he just went bang with that consummate win in Singapore, spacing Caetano by 5 lengths, and his Dubai run was full of merit.
It looks to be in great shape too, this horse. Very, very well in himself. He was having a bit of a buck and a kick during the week when he first came off the plane here, and I think that was auguring well for his future. And he certainly looks as though he's done himself proud inside the last 5 or 6 days. I'd be very, very happy with Silvano. I couldn't see a negative to say about him.
Everybody seems highly impressed with him, and when the rain came, I went and asked Andy Suberix, who rides him, about how he'd handle the conditions, and he said he'll be okay in it. He injured himself on heavy ground, very heavy ground in Germany, at Hamburg actually, and that day the penetrometer, as we would know it, was rated as a 7.
Oh.
I couldn't imagine that.
Oh, yeah, well, that sounds about right for the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, that's mud pie stuff. And a very interesting quote from Andy. I said, well, the shifting ground that you might get today, is that a problem? He said, no, that's not my concern. The only thing that worries me is going in the direction we race here. I think he is a bit better going the other way.
Well, he certainly didn't let his followers down there, really, with the international run, did he? That was a good run, I felt, for a horse who looked a bit short. And you certainly wouldn't knock him having seen him in the paddock here. From the paddock, sorry?
I was just going to say, is Jim Antonic unopposable from the paddock?
I wouldn't say unopposable by any means, Darren, because quite frankly, I could have put anyone a 7 or 8 in here. This really is a top-class, top-quality race. I think we're honoured to have so many top-class horses from around the world performing here in the one race. He gets the nod purely by the fact that he seems to travel so well, and he looks so much better than he did when he came over last time. I'm very happy with Jim Antonic. I would put him in on top. I'd put Silvano in second, and I would actually put Idol on third, because Idol looks to be in great form too, and certainly just about the best in front of Daliapur of the home crew. So it's 10, 13 and 7 from the paddock.
Okay, 10, 13, 7 there from Mark, so a good rap about Silvano, and number 7 Idol on the third line. What are your final 3, David?
Well, I can't work around Jim Antonic. He's a great horse. He's one of the very best about. Silvano's going to run well. And Indigenous, if he ever is going to be there in a feature race again, today is going to be the day. He handles the soft, he's got a good barrier draw, he is going to be in the prime spot. I just hope he can find that old form. So 10, 13 and 8.
10, 13 and 8 there from David. Thank you. Runners are at the gates. Latest check of the prices. Gym and Tonic is $21. Industrial Pioneer coming down all of the time to 28. And on the third line, number 13, Silvano, has clicked down 2 points to $100. He's down 2 points now. Helene Vitality, number 5, at 140. The big drifter has been Daliapur, number 2, out to almost 25 to 1. Well, these runners are at the gates and they'll move up shortly for the first time run at international Group 1 level and a prize money increment to 10 million Hong Kong dollars, to which the winner will receive 5.7. Well, right now, in the minutes leading up to the jump, we're joined by Alan Hatzaiken from the South China Morning Post.
G'day, Darren.
In Hong Kong, Alan.
Yeah, great to be here, mate. Here for a good while too.
Good to hear. What do you like in this race today, Alan?
Well, I think it's, in terms of the winner, it's difficult to go past the two favourites. I don't know that there's a heck of a lot of value in them. It's been an engaging battle for favouritism, with Gym and Tonic taking over today. Up till then, Industrial Pioneer was the favourite. I guess if there's a value runner in, it might be Silvano, the German horse. The jockey, Andreas Saboris, he has said he won't mind rolling forward on the horse, and that could be an advantage if he can get a kick.
Certainly seems as though he's got the more ideal preparation this time than his previous trip to Hong Kong in the Vase.
Absolutely. He was probably a little bit short of a run. There is a school of thought that he doesn't run 2,400 metres strongly anyway, but back to 2,000 here, and he's going to be in the gun spot, I think.
Now, the Australian horse, Alan, the Mission, you've seen plenty of. How do you rate him at international group level?
Look, I think he's a very good horse in the making, a Mission. To my mind, he's probably 6 months off being at his top, but he's been thrown in the deep end by Cliff Brown. Cliff said that the horse hasn't missed a beat in his preparation in Australia or here. He's very happy with the horse.
He certainly made some sweeping statements, but not statements over the top as well, just here basically on a testing mission.
I'm very surprised to hear Cliff so bullish about the horse, because he's normally pretty conservative.
Like yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Gym and Tonic, he does look the horse to beat. He's done nothing wrong. He's got a great rap from the yard. Industrial Pioneer, you've seen a little bit of. How impressed have you been with him?
Yeah, his derby was great. Virtually reproduced the conditions here. He's drawn wide again. He's got an off track, and he's got the 2,000 metres. He is obviously going to be very tough to beat.
That was the impressive part about his win, the amount of ground he covered, and with ease, just pulling right away from his rivals.
Yeah, and revelled in the ground. He found a kick in ground that it was very difficult to kick in.
Okay, Alan, the last couple are getting set for the QE2 Cup. Favourite, Gym and Tonic, $22, 28 about his main danger, Industrial Pioneer, and $82 now about Silvano. The German has been very heavily backed. As we take it to David Rafael for the call.
Yes, they're loading up well, and Silvano getting down to a price now of 7 to 1, which seems a little more realistic than the dividend that was on offer. And you can get on Gym and Tonic, 22, 2.2 his price with only 1 or 2 to move in. The Audemars Piguet QE2 Cup International Group 1, and we're ready to go as the last one is loaded. The crowd about to send them away. They do that now. Gym and Tonic took a lunge. They're racing. Sobieski missed the start slightly. Caetano didn't begin the best. He gets back. Daliapur and Oriental Express are the best two out, and Housemaster's going to get on the back of the speed. Idle is getting over nicely, and Silvano's caught wide trying to get in. Gym and Tonic deeper, but has cover. Sobieski Electronic Unicorn through the middle, and away well Indigenous on the back of the speed now. Mission drifts back. Helene Vitality last of all. Daliapur took it up at the mile by 1. Idle worked a second. Housemaster third. Oriental Express is fourth, and Indigenous travels 5 the rail. A length to Silvano, 1 length is Sobieski. Industrial Pioneers travelling fairly well midfield. Next then Caetano, Gym and Tonic. Electronic Unicorn off the speed with a Mission, and 2 lengths last Helene Vitality. Daliapur rolling at a good clip at the 1200 by 2 to Idle, who's second. They've gone 3 lengths to Housemaster, who's third. The Grey Oriental Express travels forward a good 2 lengths Indigenous. Silvano would be loving the speed. Sobieski the inside. Industrial Pioneer goes by him from Caetano, Gym and Tonic. A Mission back with the pack. He's third last. Electronic Unicorn second last. Helene Vitality at the tail. They're close to the 800. They run the bend. Daliapur playing Catch Me If You Can. He leads by 2. He extends a bit more. Idle is second. They've gone 5 lengths to Housemaster. Oriental Express next. Silvano's trying to come on. Indigenous to the inside. Battles on. Caetano next. Industrial Pioneer pushes on. Gym and Tonic giving them a start. Next Helene Vitality. Electronic Unicorn. A Mission not happy in the ground last of all. Daliapur led at the top of the stretch by 2. Idle tries hard. Silvano, Oriental Express come on. Further back, Indigenous. Jim and Tonic's giving them a big start at the 250-metre mark. Daliapur joined by Silvano. Oriental Express and Jim and Tonic unleashing a big run. He's coming again late. It might be too late. Silvano for Subrix has got a break. He's 2 lengths clear. Jim and Tonic trying hard. Indigenous third. Silvano wins the QE2 by 2 lengths. Jim and Tonic second. Indigenous has battled hard third. Electronic Unicorn 4 from Helene Vitality. Oriental Express, Daliapur next from Caetano. Housemaster. Idle dropped out. Industrial Pioneer couldn't come on. Emission failed to finish off. And Sobieski's pulled up short and at the tail end. Andy Suberix has won the prize. The Germans claim them. Silvano, number 13, is first. Jim and Tonic second. And Indigenous third. The judges' call will be 13 Silvano, 10 Jim and Tonic at 8 Indigenous, 13-10-8 after the Audemars Piguet QE2 Cup. He was in a forward spot, forward of midfield. The others that have run in the frame had to give him a start. And he set him away before the corner. He got a lead at the top of the straight and he's held a good margin. He's really climbing the ranks as an international star, this guy. They missed a run with him before he came here for the 2400 Vase. And that's not his distance. He ran well in Dubai, wasn't suited. Singapore was really a big effort. He really blitzed a smaller field there, which included Caetano. And today he stepped up to international Group 1 level in the Audemars Piguet QE2 Cup. He had a break on the others and held them. Jim and Tonic had to give him a big start. It was too big a start. He couldn't catch a horse like this. And the 8-horse Indigenous, he's run a grand race as you'd expect from him at this level. He was in a position and has battled well in third. And there they are, 1, 2, 3. And he has a chance to have a good look behind. And he's won the prize. I've got to say, in hindsight, this horse was on the market. Nobody bought him. Can't believe it. I think it was 300,000 US they wanted for him. He's won more than that now. He has just claimed himself as an international horse in a matter of months. He came here.
Germany from France and Hong Kong in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup, the Audemars Piguet QE2 Cup. And Emission, as you heard David Raphael mention in running, just found it a little tough in going 13 from 10 and 8. So it is Germany home, and the winning rider, as you heard mentioned, Andy Suberix, is in the saddle. We'll take a short break, come back and wrap it up.